Okay, stop what you're doing. Leaked internal documents have just blown the lid off one of the biggest stories in tech, and this changes everything we thought we knew about social media advertising. We're not just talking about a system that's failing to moderate, we're talking about a system that's been built into a business model.
And it all starts with this number, $16 billion. According to these leaked documents, that's how much revenue Meta projected it would pull in just 1 year from ads for scams and banned goods. Just let that sink in.
So let's get right to the bombshell here. The core finding from this mountain of documents is, frankly, staggering. Meta isn't just accidentally letting fraudulent ads slip through the cracks. No, it appears to be knowingly profiting from a massive, calculated tidal wave of them.
And the scale is what's just so shocking. We're not talking about a rounding error here. Internal projections show that these scam ads make up a whopping 10% of Meta's entire annual revenue. This isn't a bug in the system, people. It's a feature. So what does that 10% look like in practice? Well, it looks like this. 15 billion. That's how many times a higher risk or an obviously fraudulent ad gets served up to you, to me, to everyone, every single day. The system sees them, it flags them, and in so many cases, it just pushes them out anyway. The real-world impact of this is just enormous. Get this. A presentation from May 2023 by Meta's own safety staff contained a pretty stunning admission. They estimated that their platforms, we're talking Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, were involved in 1/3 of all successful scams in the entire United States.
So you have to be asking, how on earth does something like this happen on such an industrial scale? Well, the documents pull back the curtain on a set of internal rules and, frankly, perverse incentives that have created a machine literally built to profit from fraud.
All right, so here's the playbook. A scammer submits an ad, right? The system flags it as suspicious. But here's the kicker. An advertiser only gets banned if the system is at least 95% certain they're committing fraud. So what if it's 94% certain? The ad runs, and not only does it run, Meta actually charges these shady advertisers a higher penalty rate. And this quote from Lawfare really just nails it. That so-called penalty for being a high-risk advertiser? It's not a deterrent. It's a direct line of revenue. The system is literally designed to monetize the risk, turning that suspicion straight into profit. And believe it or not, it gets even worse. The documents talk about something called revenue guardrails. Now, what are those? They're internal rules that physically block the company's own scam detection teams from taking any action that would cut more than 0.15% of total company revenue. Enforcement is literally capped to protect the bottom line. It's unbelievable.
You know, the company's own employees could see the writing on the wall. A really damning internal assessment from April 2023 came to a stark conclusion. It's actually easier to advertise scams on Meta's platforms than it is on their biggest rival, Google. But look, these numbers and internal memos, they aren't just abstract data points. They have a devastating, very real human cost. And now we're going to see how this algorithm connects directly to forced labor and what is essentially modern slavery.
This place is called KK Park. It's a notorious industrial jail-like complex in Myanmar, and it's just one of many of these compound crime facilities in Southeast Asia where the victims of these online scams are trafficked and then forced to commit cybercrimes themselves. So how does someone end up there? Well, the pipeline starts with those fake job ads on social media, the ones promising these amazing, high-paying tech jobs. Victims are lured to a place like Thailand, and then they're trafficked across the border. Their passports are taken away and they're told, you've been sold. They're forced to work 12-hour days running the exact same online scams that fuel this entire industry. And if they refuse or they don't meet their quotas, the result is torture, beatings, electrocution, starvation. This is the real-world endgame of those high-risk ads. So the huge question is, why aren't these platforms held responsible for this? And the answer lies in one single, incredibly powerful piece of U.S. law. It's called Section 230. And what it says basically is that online platforms are not legally on the hook for what their users post. Now, this law was originally designed to protect the early internet, to encourage platforms to moderate content without having to live in fear of being sued for every single post. To really get Section 230, just think about this simple analogy. A newspaper is a publisher, right? It edits and it vets everything, so it's liable for whatever it prints. But a newsstand, well, a newsstand is just a distributor. It's not responsible for the content of every magazine on its racks.
Section 230 treats social media platforms like the newsstand, not the newspaper.
And, this law only exists because of this weird paradox from two really early court cases. One platform, Prodigy, tried to moderate its content, and a court said, nope, you're a publisher, you're liable. Meanwhile, CompuServe didn't moderate, and the court said, you're a distributor, you're not liable. So Congress passed Section 230 to fix this mess, so that platforms wouldn't get punished for trying to clean up their own sites. But that legal shield is now right at the center of this entire debate.
And this all brings us to the ultimate question. I mean, when fraud is this profitable, can we ever really hold these massive tech platforms accountable? The leaked documents show that executives were very, very aware of the financial math here.
Just look at this internal calculation. It says it all. Meta projected that it would earn $3.5 billion every 6 months from ads its own legal team flagged as having higher legal risk. They expected about $1 billion in fines. The math was simple. The profit would more than cover any penalty. It was just the cost of doing business.
Remember those revenue guardrails? It meant that to tackle a $16 billion problem, the company was only willing to sacrifice about $135 million in revenue. It's not even a drop in the bucket, it's a rounding error.
So what can actually be done? Well, there are a few proposals floating around. Things like allowing victims to sue platforms directly to get their money back, forcing companies to give up every penny they earned from scams, and creating more carve-outs to Section 230, kind of like how the FOSTA-SESTA Act removed that immunity for sites that facilitate sex trafficking.
Which leaves us right here with this final critical question. These documents suggest this isn't about a company failing to catch fraud, it's about a system that seems designed to profit from it. So if profiting from fraud is the business model, can regulation ever truly catch up?